persistent drizzle of Aberdeen, Washington in the year 1967, Kurt Donald Cobain entered the world. The small town, encased in ever-present clouds and mist, seemed ordinary to most. Yet it would shape a boy whose influence would ripple across generations. He was the son of Wendy Elizabeth and Donald Leland Cobain, born into a household that would soon fracture under the weight of divorce. At the age of 7, Kurt's parents separated. The separation was not just a familial shift, it was a seismic rupture in a young boy's emotional foundation. Aberdeen, a logging town whose streets were lined with damp wooden buildings, and the occasional fog-shrouded tree offered few distractions, and Kurt would often find himself alone, wandering through puddled streets or sitting silently at the edge of the nearby Chehalis River, listening to the rhythmic splash of water and imagining worlds beyond his own. Music became more than comfort, it became survival. At 11, Kurt discovered the guitar. His fingers, small and hesitant at first, learned the chords of the Beatles, the intricate power riffs of Led Zeppelin, and the experimental rhythms of the Pixies. These songs were not just melodies, they were lifelines. A language through which he could express the chaos and longing he felt inside. Alone in his bedroom, sometimes for hours, Kurt would strum, sing, and write lyrics into worn notebooks. His words a map of an inner world he could not yet fully understand or explain to anyone else. The early 1980s were a turbulent period for youth culture. Punk rock surged in underground clubs, brash and confrontational, while glam metal dominated radio waves with its polished theatrics. For Kurt, these genres were both inspiration and contrast. He absorbed their energy, experimented with sound, and began to forge a voice uniquely his own. He was never content with imitation. He sought authenticity, the kind that could be felt in the chest as much as it could be heard. Adolescence for Kurt was marked by isolation and recurring illness, both physical and emotional. By 1985, he made the bold choice to leave high school. This decision freed him to focus on music, yet it also placed him on an uncertain path, untethered from the conventional world. He played in local bands, recording demos in improvised studios and practicing relentlessly. Each song was a fragment of his psychic confession, a lament, a scream into the void, a search for understanding. In 1987, a fateful meeting in a record store changed everything. Chris Novoselic, a towering, soft-spoken bassist, shared Kurt's vision and hunger for music that was raw, honest, and unfiltered. The connection was immediate. Together, they would form the nucleus of Nirvana. Their early performances were grueling. Performed in dimly lit clubs where few attended. They slept on floors, lived on meager funds, and survived on the sheer energy of their ambition. Yet each performance, each rehearsal honed their craft and deepened the bond between them. In 1989, Nirvana released its first album, Bleach, under the independent Sub Pop label. It garnered attention, though modest, from those who understood its unpolished power. It was a glimpse of the potential that lay dormant, waiting to erupt. By 1991, that eruption came, Nevermind, with its explosive lead single, catapulted Kurt and Nirvana into global stardom. At 24, Kurt became the reluctant voice of of a generation. Teenagers disaffected and searching for authenticity found in his lyrics a mirror of their own confusion and frustration, yet fame was double-edged. The adoration of millions brought immense pressure. Chronic stomach pain, depression, and addiction gnawed at Kurt relentlessly. Every photograph, every headline, every invasive question from the media became a burden he carried silently. He longed for privacy, for simplicity, but was trapped in the eye of a cultural storm. In 1992, Kurt married Courtney Love. Their union, both celebrated and scrutinized, brought them the birth of Frances Bean, a fragile light in a life otherwise marked by turbulence. Yet the pressures of fame, coupled with his personal struggles, created a complex landscape of joy and despair. Kurt's internal battles did not abate, they intensified behind the scenes. Even as he performed with unyielding intensity on stage. As Nirvana toured and recorded, Kurt's life became a study in contradictions. Concerts were electrifying, chaotic, and full of raw energy. Yet off stage, he often retreated into silence, introspection, or despair. His lyrics reflected this tension, yearning, alienation, occasional flashes of dark humor, and confessions of pain and longing. In interviews, he spoke candidly about his disillusionment, the burden of fame, and the constant struggle to reconcile his public persona with the private man within. By 1993, friends noticed cracks in Kurt's facade, periods of absence, sudden withdrawals, and moments of intense vulnerability suggested that the pressures were taking their toll. His journals, filled with sketches, poetry, and confessions, revealed a mind wrestling with forces that no applause, no platinum record, no fan base could soothe. The world saw the frontman, the cultural icon, but few truly saw the man behind the music. Seattle, by this time, had transformed into the epicenter of grunge. Record labels flocked to the Pacific Northwest in search of the next Nirvana. Television, radio, and print media amplified every action, every word, and every misstep. Kurt, who had sought only to express himself through music, now found himself engulfed in a spotlight he neither sought nor could easily bear. As 1994 approached, whispers of despair grew louder. Kurt Cobain, the voice of a generation, faced a darkness that no applause, no platinum record, and no fan devotion could illuminate. Friends, family, and bandmates sensed a shift to growing tension, retreating from the world he had once confronted so boldly. His music, still powerful, grew more confessional. Songs became dialogues with his own demons. The world celebrated Nirvana's frontman, yet the journals revealed a man grappling with struggles too complex to summarize in headlines or interviews. The early days of April 1994 would cast a shadow over all that had come before, leaving the world asking how a man who gave voice to millions could vanish so suddenly, so tragically. The story does not end here. It only begins. The mysteries, unanswered questions, and controversies surrounding Kurt Cobain await in the next chapter of this journey, where the final days, the death, and the theories will unfold. If this story moved you, hit like, subscribe, and share this video. In the next episode, we will explore Kurt Cobain's final days, the controversy surrounding his death, and the theories stories that continue to captivate and divide the world. Do not miss it.